Good evening. I'm sure you're all awake after the lively presentation from Dr. Anand out here. I'm just getting my presentation on. But what I would now do is, I think the foundation for today's panel has been set with what technologies are available, wireless. I'm hardcore wireless technology provider, being BlackBerry and Facebook. But what I would now focus on is technology is great. It's an enabler. It's a leveler in many ways between rural and urban side. But we believe that technology can only do so much as you imagine it to be. And that's what I would like to focus on for the next 10 minutes. What's possible? Some things you may know, and some things you may not know in terms of what technology is currently available and what it can do for you as a healthcare practitioner. Can I have this presentation? Into the conversation that we want to have today, and to begin with, what's the problem at hand, and what's the demand from doctors and healthcare practitioners today? There are more and more patients. So we've been hearing all of yesterday and today about the ratio of doctor to patients that we have in India, and it's unimaginably difficult to achieve any scale of patient care across our billion-odd people with the kind of healthcare professional size that we have. And hence, technology becomes an absolute necessity. So what is some of that technology that's available? So I'll just talk about some of the disruptive technology that we think will create an impact in healthcare. And some very basic, 3D, for example. 3D imaging and 3D video chat, 3D just normal 3D. 3D is actually used a lot in gaming currently, but if you take it over to the healthcare side, what it does is help you assess and analyze your patient in a much more real life manner than the current 2D images that are coming in. The other one is touch technology. So when we moved from the QWERTY, which BlackBerry was very famous for earlier, and into the entire touch landscape, what it now does is for you as a doctor or a healthcare practitioner, probably entering a lot of data with a QWERTY keyboard is probably not possible, not easy, and hence you don't use it much. But now with the touch technology, what it does, you swipe, you pinch, you zoom, all of that brings in a lot of change in the ease of use for such technology for you. The other one is cloud computing. So how much of data can you actually crunch and keep messaging back and forth? When you talk about 1 billion people and probably 100,000 retina scan images that you need to compress and crunch and send back and forth for all the kind of patient healthcare that you are doing, if you look at the infrastructure that we have, and without getting into the whole 3G and the scam and all of that, our infrastructure needs to be utilized much more effectively. We don't have the infrastructure to actually send these images back and forth all the time. So you combine cloud computing at one end with the super compression techniques that we have on the wireless side, and you find that now probably there is technology that enables us to use the entire telemedicine landscape better. Are we getting there? Okay, so looks like I'll have to do it all with a song and dance. That's good with me. So, so going on, that's the entire technology landscape, and there's some more technology out there. Anyone want to take a stab at what's the technology that you think would kind of create some of the revolutions? apart from what we have talked so far. So cloud, 3D, touch, compression techniques, which are key, especially as a technology enabler, where we deliver technology, compression techniques become very key. Anyone else with any other thoughts?
You say compression techniques. Is there any loss in the image clarity for the compression?
No.
Has it been studied?
Yeah, it has been studied, and that is probably the reason it took a little while for these technologies to come forth. Now it is not there. In fact, it is being practiced currently by Narayana Netralaya. You would have heard Anand Vinekar, doctor, talking in the morning today, using the I2I telesolutions processes and the software. So this has been piloted, it is running, and there is no deterioration in the image that is happening. They are able to look at it and analyze and assess and give up.
Pixel intensity has been standardized before compression and all.
It is, absolutely. And if you look at the latest playbook, for example, I can speak from that perspective because it's a technology we have on hand. And if you want to do an assessment or a diagnosis with multiple people and you hook the playbook up to the flat screen, still no deterioration in the pixelation right there. So that is a big stride in technology that has come about. Yes?
Do you think inclusion of testing apparatus in the phone itself would be the next step? Things like maybe non-intrusive testing, of course. They have a lot of sensors nowadays. Of course, technology will move on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is where, so we heard Mr. Sachin Pilot talk today in the morning and say that no one can do this alone. Government cannot, technology guys cannot, doctors cannot, no one cannot do it on their own. And that is why in each of these systems, for example, the Narayana Netralaya process is done in closed circuit with Forus, which is a retina image photography equipment. We also work with Opto Circuits, which is the ICU equipment manufacturer, the hospital, the software developer, we as the device or technology enabler. All of us are coming together to actually create these simple solutions.
I'm going to put it on some drive and run it from that computer. At least you have something, yeah?
Like, please, that's good.
You want to continue or you're getting later if there is a problem?
It's a problem with the computer.
Oh,
So
okay.
anyone
Common
who
problem.
comes in to speak
Yeah, okay.
will have the same problem.
Okay. Can you continue without electronic
No,
presentation?
he's trying to get it to this directly. I have it on the thumb drive. If I can
If you do, I'll just put it right away.
What we want to say is reimagine what you want to do and then we'll deliver. For example, an analogy of this is that we have been working with enterprises for a long time, and a typical demand from CIOs have been that you have employees walking in that door with all kinds of phones, fine, and we have a lot of corporate data on your phone, but it's a personal device. I have my mother's number, I also have my biggest client's number in there, and when I walk out the door, if you want to wipe out my phone of data for security, please make sure that you partition the corporate information and your personal information. So we recently launched that software which actually helps you partition your data from whatever is your enterprise or corporate from your personal. So you walk out the door of the office and I can wipe out all my corporate information, but you have your mother's number safe. So that's, oh great, thank you. So that is just one aspect where we can partner to bring your problems to the forefront, but we need to hear from healthcare practitioners and what are your big problems, and then we work towards finding solutions.
There, you got it. You just
Okay.
clicking.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so we've already run through this, so let's go faster. So some of the other technology was about context-aware computing, and this is one of the ideas which came in from one of the doctors and got the prize today morning, which was about location-based services. Now we are scarce on resources. Can you help create applications which are going to say I'm in an emergency, I need blood. which is the nearest place I can find the blood? Fine. Now where is that place? Can you show me on the map? Can I click to call the blood bank, go there or get it delivered? Yes, 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 and yes. So this is technology that is currently available and being used massively in other areas like movie tickets, flight tickets. You want a video, you want all sorts of things, you're able to do it. Then why not healthcare services? So the point here is that we can actually pick up a lot of what is already established software and processes in other areas, just bring it over to healthcare. So some of the counterintuitive approaches here, and that's fundamental to what we are trying to do, is that take time. And doctors don't have enough time to do all the things in one day, nor does any other professional, but in this current context, this is a key issue. And what technology does is, we cannot really help increase time for you, but we can definitely help you increase energy. And how is that? Just the use of alerts. For example, I know that I have a critical patient here. I've done the surgery, but I do know that in 2 days' time I need to call back and figure out, has something happened as it should or not. So what technology could do for you is then it pushes that information into your calendar, and on the second day it kind of pops up and tells you, hey, Mr. Rao was your patient, you need to call Mr. Rao now or check up later. It can also tell you, do you want to ask your nurse to do it or your assistant to do it, and then revert to you. It can actually open up a BBM chat with the patient and quickly chat right there and say, hey, are you okay? Is your pulse normal? Whatever it is, and then go forward. So we can allow you to conserve energy and use technology for that. So many a times in technology disruptions, when there is this kind of disruptive technology coming in, it's the mental model that needs to change, and that's where we play time catching up. For example, the whole Web 1.0 that happened, and then the internet bubble and the whole thing crashed. However, the survivors actually drove the Web 2.0, and a lot of things that changed there was purely mental models, right? So MP3 music and how it was being sold on the web actually changed with Napster. Sharing music between friends, paying for the music and stuff like that. So it's a lot about changing the way you think. Again, we keep hearing that technology interventions need change of mindset. And what I would like to say today is, there is already a changing mindset. Why don't we leverage that? For example, mobile. There's already people using mobile. SMS. People using a lot of SMS. People wanting to chat. People willing to do a lot without personal viewing of the physical patient and the doctor. So there's a lot changed already. There's a lot of Facebook, there's a lot of Twitter with the youth, right? So let's understand the already changing stuff and kind of leverage it. So reimagine, and that's the underlying theme for me. Let's just get together and reimagine what we can possibly do with technology. Nothing like kids to learn it from. You give him a set of these, stuff you put together and create stuff, he would do it. And tell the kid, now son, reimagine this, make something else out of it. And he would, in a heartbeat. If we can do that with the kind of technology and infrastructure and people, then we are the masters. And we do it. Indians are great. You know the missed call phenomena that we have? For our foreign friends, we never call a driver, we never pay to call our driver, we give a missed call. And the driver knows, he brings the car.
And 2 missed calls, they mean something else.
Yes. 2 missed call and he'll pick up my husband. So we are great at this, and we have an inherent way of reinventing stuff. So that's another thing. Now this is the one mention of reimagining we did with Dr. Anand Vinekar and the Narayana Netralaya. Now this is how the typical primary healthcare worker is interfacing with the patient? This is the question always at the back of the patient's mind, and this is what the doctors came back and told us. Telemedicine is good, fine, but the patient always has this, so where's the doctor? This is not exactly a doctor, but I want to actually see the doctor, I want to meet the doctor, talk to him. There was a problem of trust. So we reimagined it, and there you go, the video chat between the tablet and the BlackBerry and the playbook and all of it actually now enables the guy, the patient or the patient's mother or father to actually see the doctor, talk to the doctor, and then proceed with the primary healthcare worker. Created a significant change in behavior. The BlackBerry Messenger or the chat function that you have on phones is a huge collaboration platform. You can invite doctors for reference, take recommendation, create communities. It's nothing, it's already there in your phones. Just form a group, create separate groups, maintain and talk to them. Simple intervention. This is the latest technology, augmented reality. Let's see how we can reimagine stuff with augmented reality. Now here, there is India Properties. And if you want to search for property, I want to buy a 2-bedroom flat in Colaba. What I can now do is I can walk into the Colaba street, turn on my camera viewfinder, and it will show me how many rented properties, how many properties are available for sale. I click on that, I can see what is the amenities of this property, and then choose to go see, talk to them, etc. Can we apply that to healthcare? Sure, we can. So here's a doctor looking at someone who's coming, probably at the emergency. Through the viewfinder, you're seeing the patient, but now you are seeing what's the patient's history right there. This patient is already undergoing treatment for diabetes and hypertension. So what does the doctor do? Quickly throw up a chat with the doctor who was earlier treating her for diabetes and hypertension, talk over it, whatever you want to do, and then come up with the medication. So what is it actually doing? Augmented reality, the technology does, it takes reality on your viewfinder, overlays information on that. So then think big, what kind of information you would like to have. So this is another area where we really needed imagination, and that is you have the right test, you have done the right diagnosis, you've given the right prescriptions, and the patient walks away, and then what? The patient comes back, and the disease has changed, but is it lack of compliance? You really don't know. And now you have near-field communication technology which helps you do that without changing behavior too much. So what it has is a smart card, where every time the patient is taking the medicine, you punch the card. And this is a solution from Zero Solutions, already available in demonstrable solution. You punch the card each time you take the medicine. A month later, you come to the doctor taps the BlackBerry, gets all the information. How frequently did he take the medicine? Did he take everything? All that information. That information then goes back to pharma companies for the clinical trial data. Really valuable data on compliance right from the patient. And if you look at behavior, it is still just a small cardboard piece, right? There's smart card inside, patient need not know that, and punching it is behavior I've always been doing. So great technology intervention without too much of behavioral change. That can work. I'm going to rush through this. So just the last slide, and I want to talk about the power of deeply integrated apps. So when you say that we can use technology and leverage technology, it's important to have somebody in the team who understands the technology really well. So you know there's augmented reality, I can leverage NFC, I can do it this way. And on the other side, the healthcare professional, and we come together and actually take those advantages and reimagine the whole world, right? Thank you. Any quick questions? I think we are out of time, so maybe I'll take one question if you have, and sure.
I want to understand the regulatory issues, that BlackBerry is also been facing about where you host your data. So because all of this is going to be sensitive enough data, and if it's not, even with cloud computing,
Right.
where you host it, how do you, the regulatory implications of all that you've spoken.
Right. So when we have a cloud solution for India healthcare, the cloud would be located in India. So what happens here is currently we have crossed all the regulatory problems. It's majorly an industry issue because it's any telecom operator and any OEM smartphone equipment manufacturer has the same issue, that everybody's compression techniques is the same and stuff like that. But to particularly come to the point of cloud, it necessarily has to be located, the data center has to be located in India if you're doing a cloud solution for India. So Indian government is very particular about that not being outside, and so are many countries. So what would ultimately happen is probably have regional clouds separately, and if you go to Europe, you will have 100 different small clouds there. But in India, the advantage is the scale, which makes a cloud for India quite feasible.
Thank you, Annie, for talking on confidence building. I remember one instance in this context, confidence building respect, when telemedicine started first in India, in Northeast region, when doctor used to appear on the street, in teleconferencing, people used to gargle. It's not physical. That means they have learned the art of electronic doctor and the physical. They have gained more confidence. It's confidence building. Here also for all your devices which Dr. Anand, yourselves are talking about, it's only the confidence building in the people. You rightly said as large number of mobiles are there in this country, poor country I should say, poor country.
Yes.
More than US, correct? Okay? How that is there? It's a confidence building. My maid has mobile. Even the laborer has mobile. Contractor gives the mobile to everybody. It's confidence building. So I think we'll have good confidence in all the products which being described today. Good. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Annie, if I
Memento, please.
give you a memento for, so not only a wonderful presentation, but nerves of steel, you didn't flinch once when the presentation was